Tyler is one of the only cities in Texas that doesn't have any kind of art co-op. You know, everywhere I'm talking the tiniest towns in Texas have a group of artists that got together, got a lease on a building, started paying rent, and started working out of there. That won't work here in Tyler. Why?
Hey guys, my name is CJ Mosley and I'm here with Aaron Hinds. And can you just introduce yourself and tell us what you do?
Sure. My name's Aaron Thomas Hinds. I'm a local artist here in Tyler. I'm an oil painter, author, carpenter, and I illustrate the scripture. Mostly the life of Christ, and in kind of an avant-garde way. The very very contemporary. It's not your normal paintings of Jesus, but that's kind of sparked some interest. I think I've found something that looks different.
Can you tell me a little bit about that? Like, what got you going into art?
Sure. I've always been kind of the artist kid, just solo in the class, off to myself. Home life wasn't great, so it was like everybody's kind of left me alone, and I just kept drawing, and I have a theory that like all kids can draw, but some of them just keep drawing. And that's what happened, and I think that's what kind of started my journey on the fact that when you're a kid, you're looking for something that you're looking for something that you like to do, something you're good at, and I found that immediately. I started drawing trees. That was my first thing, and I remember thinking, these are good trees. I remember me thinking that, because everybody around you is like, when you're kids, everything's good. Oh, this is great. Da, da, da. But I think adults, I noticed them being like, this isn't normal kids' drawings. These are a little bit better. Whole life I thought I was going to be an artist, but my father was less than encouraging about that. Because typical dad, you can't be an artist. You should do something that's going to give you a career. Even though he was a painter, pretty good back in the day, but I think he was a little bit bitter, a lot bitter. But I ended up studying design more than art, but I studied, I took art classes, as many as I could I studied landscape architecture at A&M. But I did go to Italy for a study abroad semester into summer, so it was almost a full year of oil painting instruction under Paolo Butticelli. He was an Italian master and designer, and ran this school, Santa Chiara Study Center in Castiglione Fiorentino, Italy, right in the middle of Tuscany between Florence and Rome. It was an incredible small walled medieval city that we lived in. Our school was basically a converted monastery. My studio was stone, and over 1,000 years old. It was like this is an old city. So it was just like this. That semester, that's when I realized that I am not going to be a landscape architect. This is what I'm going to do as soon as I get back, graduate. I had planned on moving to Paris, actually, and my mom was, had a cow and begged me if somewhere in the United States. That was, Paris. That's where you go learn how to be an artist. So I compromised and moved to New York after college, and did a bunch of internships. I'm a skilled carpenter, so I can pretty much pick up and go anywhere, and just work. And while I was doing that, I was working with artists and painting a lot and trying to do shows. And we actually opened up a gallery on Attorney Street, and we rehabbed the whole street. Just cleaned it up and painted some murals and wrote the city, and they fixed the lights, and within 5 years, that was one of the most happening streets in Lower Manhattan. It's real easy to create an arts district, you know, which is another something wanted to talk about. It's creating one here in Tyler, but I think that's going to be a little bit more difficult than doing it in New York. 'Cause Tyler has like quadruple the red tape, you know, that New York has. You know,
Why do you think that is?
uh, I'm not sure. Well, New York, they focus on tourism. They know that empty shops is a cancer, so they're not going to stand in your way to go open up a business. You know, Tyler, I have no idea why it would be discouraging to, you know, like have a food truck here or open up a gallery or, you know, have a music venue. It just seems to be impossible here. And what we're going to need, in my opinion, is uh, uh, zoning laws. You know, we need there's zero political will to create zoning laws, tourism zoning laws, and that's pretty much the only way you're going to create an arts district downtown, or we're going to get this new downtown area. It's going to look beautiful, but the only thing that are down there are like lawyers' offices and stuff, you know, things that aren't tourism based. Um, so the city council has to, you know, grow, you know, has to do something, you know. Otherwise, I think it's all a bunch of talk. You know, it's a bunch of bureaucrats trying to figure out how to create an arts district without the artists, and they don't. I don't see a lot of reaching across to try to ask the artists how to create an arts district. I think they just think they can do it, you know. But no, what you have to do is you have to zone downtown for arts and entertainment and attract entrepreneurs that open businesses like that.
And you have a little experience with dealing with the bureaucracy down here. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Well, that's the thing. I don't have the experience because I don't feel like they just there's nobody to talk to. There's nobody in charge. I don't know who to. I mean, traditionally, city council open, you know, has, but these people are unavailable. You know, I hear them talking about wanting to create a music, you know, friendly town, but since we got our supposed designation, two underground stages closed. You know, there's no underground stage, and I feel like when Tyler talks about things, they talk about it in a large corporate way, and they're not talking about local entrepreneurs that want to open businesses to create a, you know, arts and entertainment district. You know, I always use the example H&R Block couldn't go down to um, New Orleans and buy one of the buildings on the French Quarter. You know, well, maybe they could, but they would have to open up a music venue, you know, or a bar or something like that. You know, a gallery, something that has to do with tourism. And Tyler does not seem to have that political will.
Why do you think Tyler has been lacking on tourism, and how do you think we can like manage to get?
Well, it actually goes back to the founding of this town. Um, this town was founded by the owners of the wells that were discovered in Gilmer around in the mid 1800s. So Gilmer was, uh, you know, uh, a huge. I can't remember the actual well, but a lot of oil was found down there, and the town of Gilmer was founded so that the people that worked on the rigs and all the derricks and the roughnecks, that's where they lived. Longview was founded by the managers of those wells, you know, the people that, you know, ran all the crews and the companies of that, things like that. Tyler was founded by the owners of those wells. And they had very strict, I don't know if you want to call it laws, or very strict rules about what could and could not be here. That's why Tyler has been a dry county forever. They basically establish a bunch of laws to keep the quote unquote riffraff out, for lack of a better term, you know. And that, I believe, has persisted through the years and has dogged Tyler. It's the reason, we just can't have a thriving underground music scene. It's the reason we just don't have a vivid, thriving downtown like a Denton, or, like a, even
Dallas.
Longview. Yeah, Dallas, there we could have a D-Bellum. We could have that easily. But there's just some invisible force that just won't allow it to happen, you know? And I feel like there's a little bit too much power in the hands of the bureaucrats right now. I'll give you a perfect example of a bureaucratic move that just is just hilarious that Tyler does. They just string all these bureaucratic moves back to back. You know, what's the purpose of a food truck? It's go take food to where people are congregating, to where people are on foot, right?
Correct.
So Tyler's, they're probably tired of everybody griping that we don't have food trucks because they have crippling, absolutely, they make it impossible for you to have a food truck here, basically. So that's why there's only 5 in town. Denton probably has 30. And they built themselves a little congregating spot near downtown where people are on foot. Tyler builds a parking lot dedicated to food trucks nowhere near a pedestrian area. It's just thoughtlessness like that just won't allow us to create a cohesive scene downtown. Every alleyway, every side of the building that's not being used needs to be designated for murals. And if the building owner doesn't want a mural, it should at least be able to bring in a digital artist and project art at night. Not only would it make it safer at night, it would triple the size of downtown every weekend. I've seen this happen. This is historic. This happens over and over again. I had a professor friend tell me that East Texas is the new Byzantium, and what he meant by that, Byzantium, was a the middle of nowhere, the Baltic states. People thought that's where Dracula lived, in the Middle Ages, and finally, war torn Europe, all of the artists that didn't want to fight for their king, who was just tossing them, willy nilly at any country just to gain land, they all moved to the Baltic states, where it was cheap and it wasn't war torn. Well, within 10 years, Byzantium was one of the most powerful kingdoms on earth because of that dollar. People went down there to see the great works of art and the great architecture and things that were happening in this small, cheap part of the world. And, that's why we know the term Byzantine art and Byzantine architecture. And that is what Tyler is. Tyler has been this sort of kind of sleepy wayside, where the only big art attraction we had was Edom, really. Edom's been carrying the flag for the arts for Tyler for like 2-3 decades, for decades, for a long, long time. But East Texas kind of refuses to just grow into that. It refuses to take their lead or follow their lead, is what I mean. And so it's been cheap for a long time. So there's tons of artists here, good artists. But as soon as they can, they have to move out of here because they can't sell art here. There's no galleries. There's no proper galleries. And that, unfortunately, the causality of having your work in a gallery and the price point that you can demand is absolutely linked. You can't have, there's a good start. And I'm not saying this is a bad thing that you have your work in coffee shops or frame shops or bars like that, but there's a price point difference that you can command if you're hanging in a real nice gallery. And our modern museum or whatever I think they have here in Tyler, it's on UT's campus. It doesn't read as a standalone gallery in and of itself, and it's a little small and dark. If you had 50, 60 pieces, if you were a big professional artist, you couldn't have a professional show here in town. Nowhere. The gallery on Main Street is just one wall. It's not even 4 walls. When I had my gallery, I used to have people come on all the time asking where it was. And I'm like, well, it's up there in the atrium. And like, yeah, we saw the sign. Where's the gallery? And I'm like, yeah, they're saying that one wall is. And then people are like, oh, and then they ask me where the art towns are. So I feel like I felt like there was a certain amount of competition. I felt like as soon as I opened my gallery, I don't think, I didn't get visited by the schools, by the art professors. I didn't get, maybe I got one or two people from the tourism department, and visit Tyler. They shared my stuff, but this was Tyler's first major gallery. I thought Tyler was going to absolutely coalesce around me, and that just didn't happen. There's a real spirit of competition here that the artists have to band together and break.
I feel that like not along with just like art, just like in art in general, whether it's like photography, actual art, or
Mm-hmm.
photography or videography, or
Mm-hmm.
there's not a whole lot of people that are willing to work together here, and I've
Yeah,
been noticing that for a long time.
yeah. Like I said, Tyler is one of the only cities in Texas that doesn't have any kind of art co-op. You know, everywhere I'm talking the tiniest towns in Texas have a group of artists that got together, got a lease on a building, started paying rent, and started working out of there. That won't work here in Tyler. Why? I don't get it. I tried to create one over there. I couldn't get anybody. It's just I don't think there's an understanding of what we can do if we just band together. If we stop with the competition and kind of hating on each other. I don't know what it is. And I've been guilty a little bit this too. I need to drop my attitude towards a few people that rub me the wrong way, and we when you get on the same team and create this arts district, despite the bureaucracy that isn't going to be able to do it just by declaration.
How do we like get together as a pack and move forward from this competition? Because I see a lot of these younger kids that there's a group here called Vision that I'm involved with,
Okay,
and
is that
then
Paolo's?
yeah,
Okay, great. Yeah, that's a great group.
and I see a lot of the younger generation trying to form.
They're going to get it. They're going to get it. They're going to understand what it is. That Paolo. I have much faith in Paolo. Um, uh, I think the younger generations are going to finally figure out what an art collective is,
Yeah,
and how to make one. Because the fact that Tyler doesn't have one, we should have five. We should have five major collectives here in town. But it just doesn't fly here, and I don't know why.
there's a couple of studios, art studios, but it's kind of like
Yeah,
all
it's an
spread out.
individual person. There's no cohesion. Yeah, I mean, there's groups, but all they do is talk about art. They don't talk about how we can move this forward here. There's no plan of action, and there's no group that is planning a plan of action. It's all just focused on art and the scraps that the bureaucrats toss us from the table. They think that they're going to build an arts district without the artists or with one or two artists. Nah, it's got to take a massive group, and I don't know where they are. Well, because they have to leave. All of the entrepreneurial artists, all the artists that know this stuff, they have to go to Dallas.
Yep.
There's nowhere to buy. There's nowhere to grow to here. You can't charge a major price point anywhere here in town. In my opinion, and have the rest of the world take you seriously. It's
How
it's
do
a
you,
go ahead.
sorry. How do you think like how can we build, because art seems to be in most cities besides Tyler, art seems to be like that cultural
Cultural cohesion.
cohesion that
Yeah.
brings like the working class and the upper class kind of together.
Yeah. Well, we have to get on the city council. We can't ask the city council anymore because obviously they are not going to help. We have to get on the city council because the city council is the only people that can erect zoning laws. We have to be mayor. We have to get into the city government, the artists themselves, unfortunately. It's something that no artist wants to do. you know but if it's going to change, we got to identify supporters of the art. We got to have supporters of the arts. Where are these people? I get told they're here. Where is this junior league, that I hear so much about? you know
Junior League.
yeah, a group of folks that look them up. Start asking around about the junior league, or the people that are supposedly supporters of the arts. You know, or if you're a supporter of the art here in Tyler, and you're looking to park your money somewhere that makes a difference, do you know a group of artists that's actually creating a collective? Do you know anybody that wants to run for city council, that wants to change the zoning laws? Do you know anybody that wants to be mayor, that uh, wants to change, that wants to create, or have Tyler achieve the potential that it can? There's so much potential here, but there's some invisible hands holding us back, and we're not going to know who they are until we're on city council. And I have talked to art people that are well established in this town, that are status quo as it gets. I will quote you somebody. I won't say who it is, but I thought she has been carrying the torch for the arts for many years here in Tyler, and she says, Aaron, it can't all be art. Well, tell that to Marfa, Texas. Tell that to Frankston. Tell that to Austin. Your downtowns need to be arts and entertainment. Yes, as far as if you want to create an arts district, absolutely, yeah, it has to all be art. Or else it's going to be lawyers' offices. And believe me, the kids are saying there's nothing to do here. I don't really do anything anymore, so I can't. But I know that there's no like underground music venues. There's no.
I know they had one at the Mosaic, and I don't know if it's
Well, I
running.
mean, unfortunately, that wasn't Tyler's fault, but it was run by a scumbag that had to be.
Yeah.
He's back in jail now. He wasn't supposed to be around minors. I built one in the basement of my gallery, and again, that was not Tyler's fault. I'm not blaming Tyler, but it's this uncanny thing. It just can't happen. I had to close down because the owners of the buildings weren't comfortable with it. But they did leave the door open. They might, if they put the current tenants said that they would allow me to sublease down there and reopen the bunker. And I think North Group just wants to put a sprinkler system down there, which could take a year or 2 years. Those things are expensive, and I think they have to have a new freight elevator to make it wheelchair accessible. So it might take a little bit, but we might get the bunker back, and we're going to try to rebuild at the old Mosaic place. I'm going to rip out a lot of stuff in there. I'm going to build the stage a little bit better. Redo the stairs. I'm going to take away that big bandstand area in the back. That's just taking people. That's just standing room. I have professional bar designers, helping me, and that's the reason that venue is so tiny is because there's too much stuff down there. It's just a bunch of junk, and they just built too much. These are people who do not know how to build, and these are not finished carpenters.
Right.
My finished carpentry mind, when I walk in there and just see this slapped together stuff, just screams. But now I might have a shot of actually building it out properly. And we want to put something up on street level. I'm working with an established club owner right now, and he's looking to expand. So we'll have another cool spot on the square.
Perfect. So I know there's like the green room. Does the green room still exist?
No, that hasn't existed for a while. That's Dave. I can't remember his last name. I think he's taking a break. I think he's tired. He's got a day job. He sells medical equipment at night. He's a punk rock promoter. But those promoters are all still here, but I'm working with a partner, Elijah Foch, and we're going to try to open music venues. That is what we're going to try to do because it's a major need. Tons of bands, tons of musicians, tons of people who want to go see live music, and no stages. And as soon as they open, the old Tyler curse hits them again. It's not. There's no bad guy here. There's just some kind of curse. Like, there's just something like it's been here since been. You know, cool things just can't happen here. You
It's like
know.
I've always wondered. I've always known that was the case because I've grown up here,
Yeah, me too.
and then I moved off to Denver for about a year and
Yeah,
came back,
yeah,
and it was still the same. I'm just
same. Yeah, it's the same stuffs. It's just if something cool pops up, it lasts for a year and a half, and then it's gotta die. I remember
yeah,
when I was a kid, we finally got a skate shop. It was called the Boneyard. It was
it's,
awesome. And the kids would hang, we'd skate around there, and the owner built a little ramp in the back,
like,
and we could go practice, and but just the next year he was just gone out of business, and I don't know. There's just nobody is thinking about the underage crowd, and that's the crowd that you gotta keep happy or keep here because they're gonna move away, and that's the future of your town. Everybody's like,
right,
oh, the whole world's moving here, and I'm like, yeah, but their kids will be moving. Their kids will be leaving as soon as they can, as soon as they turn 18. And this town could be jumping. I mean, the downtown, we could have the sweetest downtown, but it just, I think I don't know, I don't want to believe this, but I think there is some entities, somebody, some group, somebody with power, somebody with money, somebody with religious sway. I don't know. They want it to remain sleepy.